Hello everybody, Tex here, back again to show you the Survivor Persona web this time and what I would recommend. We're gonna go in the same order, although we're going although we're going north again this time. We aren't gonna go over Flywheel until we go over Knee Jerk. So we're just gonna go over everything else, and then those two will be the last thing. So first up, we have Herd Behavior. Her behavior is fine, I guess. That's what you're gonna see about a lot of the survivor traits, is that a lot of them are just kinda if they're not an end trait. Survivors tend to not have as varied of persona webs. They bring the same thing every time. And we see it exactly here. I mean, you're not really gonna be leaving the hunter's warning range a lot if you're not like playing rescuer, and even then the person, in that case, it's someone else being chased, and if you're in a 4-man VC, that you're gonna know where they are anyway, so it's just kinda Next up is Survivor's Instinct. I've seen people really try arguing as the Survivor's Instinct being really good secretly. I personally don't see it. I mean, you're just getting more decoding speed when more people have been eliminated. So then why? It's if someone's been eliminated, you're basically guaranteeing a tie. If two people have been eliminated, that's basically a guaranteed loss. So, what's the point? I don't know. It, it, I swear though, there are some people who live by this trait. I don't know why they do that, but they do. Next up is healing. It's fine. There's a trait that does this, but better. If you're playing rescuer, I guess stacking healing with that other trait is pretty good, I guess. Otherwise, Airwalk is really good though. I like Airwalk. A lot of people really like Airwalk. You can make the hunter lose you if you do some trickery, and you're really good at tight kiting, and like you can get away from the hunter like that. It's really fun. Sticker's really good. It's really good. Increasing your self-healing speed when you're down doesn't sound that great until you realize that, unless you play like a rescuer or a harasser, and it's a really good just in case kind of thing. Or let's say you get down, like you get stuffed while trying to rescue someone, and then someone else comes in for the rescue, you can get up so much faster. It's much better than you'd think it is. It doesn't sound that great on paper, but it's really good. Mutual support. I mean, I don't see the point, but I guess it's useful in solo queue. I guess it's kind of eh. I mean, no one's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna invest a couple of points into mutual support. Let's go. No one does that. At least I don't know anyone who does that. Symbiotic effect is pretty good if you're playing rescuer. I mean, increasing your getting you fat to the chair faster is pretty good. It there are better traits than it, but I mean, if you're playing rescuer and you got the points, go ahead. It's good. And then we have Weber's Law. Weber's Law is really good on a couple characters, most notably Composer. You make a lot of use out of Weber's Law because it stacks with his movement speed buffs. And if you're first chase, it's pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't invest into it if I wasn't already going Sticker or Flywheel, but it's good. It's nice to have. And like I said earlier, we're gonna skip Flywheel for now and go straight to Curiosity. Curiosity's pretty good. You generally all of these just kind of get because you're gonna almost always run borrowed time anyway, which we will get to. Don't worry, we're gonna go one trade at a time. So, but yeah, curiosity is good, I guess. I mean, it helps. You're almost never not gonna have it, so it's, yeah, I guess it's just good. Distraction is fine, I guess. In a format VC, it's pretty much useless because you know where the hunter is when the cipher pops. At least you should know where the hunter is. Otherwise, that's a really risky pop. And if no one knows where the hunter is when you pop, that just doesn't happen often enough to always bring this, or to bring this in general, unless you're going for one of these one of these two. We're gonna skip snooze right now and go to self-deception. It's useless. I mean, you don't get found when you miss a calibration. That's good on mechanic, but anyone else, that's just a skill issue if you're missing your calibrations. You don't need this. Don't trust me. There are better traits than this. We have yet to get to the really good shit. Snooze is the really good shit. Slows the cooldown of rocket chair is really good. It can help so much, especially if you're not that great of a kiter, or you're playing a character that's really hard to kite with, like Mind's Eye, or especially Mechanic. Mechanic always brings snooze. It's really good. It also can stack if if you're playing like a coordinator who has slower chair time. Yeah, it can stack. It's really good. Trust me, you want to bring this. Like, if you can. There are times where you won't bring snooze. If you're playing rescue, don't bring snooze, because you should be getting chaired. But at least you shouldn't be getting chaired until it's too late anyway, and you want to die faster. Telepathy is fine, I guess. I mean, you don't really need it with communication, but I guess if you're playing solo queue, it may or may not be helpful once or twice, maybe. It's just kind of meh. And then companion effect is really good. If you're not playing rescuer, if you play someone who gets first chase a lot, like a decoder or a seer or something, always bring companion effect. It's really good. Getting a movement speed from the rocket chair is how you rebound kite. It's so much easier to rebound kite from the chair if you have companion effect. So I really recommend it if you can. Unless you're playing a rescuer, then it's not really needed as much. Escape is really good. Like, it's really good. even if you're one of those weird people that doesn't bring borrowed time, escape in itself is worth investing in. Trust me, that movement speed really helps. It also is how you can tell. It also gives you the timer to tell when detention runs out. And so yeah, escape pretty good. Compensate is something you always invest into because you always invested in it borrowed time. It's pretty good. Especially in like solo queue when you don't always know where the hunter is, you can shock yourself and just see where the hunter is. And there are times where you want to do that. I've definitely done it before in tournament, and yeah, it's really good. Borrowed time's the best trait in the game. Always bring it. If you don't know what borrowed time is, then what are you doing? When the cipher pops, you gain health, and you increase, and it also stacks with escape for an even bigger speed boost. It's the best trait in the game on the Persona tree for Hunter or Survivor. If you're not bringing it, your teammates will be thinking that you're throwing. It's really like 10 million reallys good. Drawbridge effect. It's fine, I guess, if you're in solo queue. You're generally, it's more of fodder for the other traits. Cold. It seems good, but you should just kinda always be looking around you, and if the hunter can see you, you should also be able to see the hunter, and you should be paying attention for that kind of stuff. You should always know where the hunter is, so why the fuck do you need this? Mech Elite is a skill issue. Don't bring it. Just learn how to do calibrations better. Sneak is okay. I mean, I guess there are times where you're within there's some rocket chairs where you can get in a sneaky rescue by having it. I guess. Maybe. Although the hunter also has tinnitus, so he's gonna be trying to find you and knows that you're coming to the chair. So, yeah, I guess it's just kind of meh. Doctor is just better healing. Why bring healing when you can bring Doctor? It's really, really, really good. It's, especially on Doctor herself. Like, it increases her, healing speed when she's kiting, too. So, it's pretty good. It's also good on rescuers, because they tend to be the people who will heal you a lot, or be healed a lot. So yeah, bring Doctor if you have the points. Shelter is good on a rescuer. And that's about it. It's fine. I mean, if you have the points, might as well put a couple in it. It's better than, like, I don't know, like fucking Cold, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, it's fine. Savior Complex is pretty good. It helps prevent double downs, which is nice. It generally though, if you're going into this, you might as well just get Tide at that point. And so, if you're investing in Tide, it's just a nice bonus for Tide users. Herd Mentality is fine, I guess. I mean, it helps you get to the chair faster, but it's just a little nice bonus for Tide users. Tide Turner is really fantastic. All of the end traits here are fantastic, and you always want to bring two of them. Like with Hunter, there are some Hunters and times where you can justify to yourself bringing only one end trait. With Survivor, you always want to bring two, because those are like the really good ones. And Tide Turner's good on rescuers. The current meta is to bring one Tide Turner. Back in the day, you brought two, but now your main rescuer always brings it. Like, if you're playing a rescue character, bring Tide and Borrowed Time, or else your randoms are just gonna look at you funny and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Risky move, you're always gonna bring. And so, if you aren't bringing it, you're basically throwing. I mean, obviously, technically you don't have to bring it, but increasing rescue speed by 40% is good. And why the hell wouldn't you when it leads to exit path, which you are always going to bring? If you are playing seriously, you're always going to be bringing exit path, because otherwise Hunters live and die based off of whether or not they can bleed you out, and you're just letting the hunter have the ability to bleed you out with no care in the world by not bringing exit path. So always bring exit path. Brewing effect is fine, I guess. I mean, if you're transitioning to a new cipher when accelerated decoding has already started, it's useful. But I mean, accelerated decoding, at least in my experience, doesn't come until the last cipher's already been worked on. Because Cypher Rush is that bad at the moment, and so I don't see why you'd want to bring this instead of anything else. Prisoner's Dilemma is fine, I guess. It just happens that the other two traits that it leads to are really good, and so it's just kind of fodder at the end of the day. I mean, it helps, I guess, but that's really it. You don't... Most people don't go, oh yeah, I'm gonna spec in the Prisoner Dilemma and then nothing else here. Like, no one does that. People will go like, oh yeah, I'm gonna spec into Sticker and nothing else up north. But no one does that for something like Prisoner's Dilemma. And then we get to Great Power. Great Power is good on certain characters. If you're really good at stunning the hunter into a pallet, like you're an Enchantress or a Prospector or something, it's pretty good. Otherwise, it's just kind of meh. Pallet stuns are kind of luck-based in this game. And so, yeah, I guess if you get a lot of pallet stuns, it's pretty good. Will to Survive is really, 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 really good. It's Will to Survive, you bring if you have a harasser. Otherwise, don't bother. You want to max it out too. The struggle speed can really help. I've only ever struggled out, really, in my experience in this game, when I have max Will to Survive. It's that good, especially when you have like an antiquarian or some other harasser who's there to just be able to get the hunter to drop you a bit, which will make you struggle out even better. Wisp Lifelike is pretty good. It helps when you're kiting to just have increased pilot speed. And so yeah, I bring it if you have the points, it's good. Muscle Memory is really, really good. It's it increases your vault speed, and so yeah, I would just recommend, especially if you're playing someone with a vault debuff. If you're playing like a forward, it's not really necessary because you already have a vaulting buff that's always there instead of this one that has a 25-second cooldown. But if you're playing like a mechanic or someone else, it's pretty good. And now we get to the great debate of Knee Jerk or Flywheel. Both have their supporters, but here's what I'm going to recommend. Flywheel and Knee Jerk are both amazing. They both have their place, and there are characters that like some and some that like others. Flywheel is much better on your slower vaulting characters or against hunters where their main abilities can be cancelled out really easily with Flywheel, like your Naiads or your Wax Artists. It can buy a lot of time. I didn't mean to do that. And then Knee Jerk is also pretty good. When you know how to time it out right, it's hard. They're both hard to use, but they both require you to kind of like get used to counting out the cooldowns or looking at the top left and seeing when Knee Jerk's cooldowns or wherever your Flywheel button is. So there are some hunters where Knee Jerk is better and some where Flywheel is better. You just kind of have to anticipate whether or not one's going to be better than the other. Like, if you're facing a Wax Artist, Flywheel is better. If you're facing a Bonbon, Knee Jerk is better. It really just depends on the hunter and their abilities. So that is the entire Persona tree and my thoughts on all of the abilities. Hopefully that'll help you make your own Survivor Persona tree. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Bye, y'all.